Should I break up with my boyfriend for fat shaming me? My boyfriend and I started dating 2 years ago. At the beginning of our relationship, I was weighing 130 pounds. So back then, he never had a problem with my weight. In fact, he used to praise me and tell me that he loved my body. He always would tell me that my curves were sexy, and I would sometimes tell him that I wanted to lose weight, but he would always say no. In fact, a few months after we started dating, I went on a diet. I lost about 5 pounds in 2 weeks, and he told me that I needed to stop. He told me he liked my womanly body. So I stopped dieting. At first, I was happy that he loved my body so much, but at the same time, I didn't feel healthy, which is why I started the diet in the first place. After I stopped the diet, I still kept on eating healthy, with the exception that every now and then we would have pizza or fast food. But I still tried to keep it to a minimum. So my boyfriend is actually in the Marines, and he had to go away for a few months. This sent me into a depression because I missed him so much. And because of that, I started eating a lot. I would ask my mom to cook me my favorite meals, and I would basically just eat all day. At the time, I also didn't have a job, so that was making me depressed as well. So I ended up gaining 40 pounds. Part 2 is up. Did I break up with my boyfriend for fat shaming me? While he was in the Marines, I ended up gaining 40 pounds. I was super depressed and I didn't have a job and I missed him so much. One day he calls me and tells me that he's going to be home in 2 weeks. And that's when I knew I needed to start dieting again. But then part of me remembered that my boyfriend liked me when I was thicker and curvier. So what I did was I cut down on all the fried foods, but I still kept eating a lot during the day, which basically helped me maintain the weight instead of just losing weight. In preparation for his coming home, I went to get my hair done, my nails done. I even got a facial and I went to get wax down there, which of course is super painful. I even went to pick up some lingerie because nothing fit me at the time. I also cleaned my entire apartment and cooked him a really nice meal. To tell you, I even called his mother to ask her for the recipes. I was so excited to see him. He finally shows up to my house and I have everything ready. But as soon as he sees me, he asks me what happened. I said, "What do you mean?" Then all he said was, "You're fat." At first I laughed because I thought he was joking. Then he says, "What's so funny?" It's like he was instantly angry. I told him I gained some weight and that I didn't bother losing it because he liked me curvy. That's when he said, "Yeah, I like you curvy, not fat." Then he told me I looked disgusting. Part 2 is up. Should I break up with my boyfriend for fat shaming me? After he told me I looked disgusting, I instantly broke out into tears. That's when he said, "What did you expect?" Then he said, "I've been away for months. The last thing I want to come home to is a huge gut." But then I started crying more and he kind of softened up. He said that we could work out together and that he could help me lose the weight. He then pulls up his phone and shows me a picture of what he thinks I should look like. It was basically some random Instagram model that he followed, who was actually way skinnier than I was when he first met me. For the next week, he barely touched me, and he would make little snide remarks every time he saw me eating. For example, one night we decided to watch a movie at my place. I asked him if he wanted any snacks, and he said no. Then I told him I was probably going to make some popcorn and if he wanted any. That's when he said I needed to watch what I was eating, especially at night, and that the last thing I needed was snacks during a movie. This obviously hurt my feelings. And of course, I started dieting again. But this time I was even more strict about it. I basically cut out every single thing that I like to eat, and I was only eating lean meats and salad, but very little portions. One night he invited his friends to come over to watch a football game. Instead of me having to cook, I offered to order them pizza and they said yes. When the pizzas finally arrived, my boyfriend said in front of everybody, "You don't get to eat any pizza because you still need to lose weight." I was so horrified, mortified, I wanted to literally crawl under a rock and die. His friends started laughing because they actually thought it was a joke. Then he says, "No, you guys, I'm serious. She's so fat." I couldn't believe my boyfriend was putting me down like that in front of his friends. I gave him the silent treatment, but he really didn't care. After a full month, I started finally losing weight. It's been 3 months now, and I'm weighing 120 pounds. Now he's all over me and constantly tells me that I look beautiful. But I'm never gonna forget how he treated me when I was heavier. I know that I should break up with him because of how he treated me, but I really do love him. And he's back to normal now. He loves me and touches me all the time. What should I do?
I think my husband only wants to have another kid because he thinks our son is gay. Our son, 7 male, has always been very feminine. Most of his friends are girls, his favorite toys are Barbies, and he had an awkward situation in school where he kept drawing himself as a female singer for the "When I Grow Up" part of his graduation. He would dress up in girls' clothes if he could, and I'm not judgmental, but that wouldn't be the best for him where we live, so he's not allowed. I'm not sure why he's like this, but I was such a tomboy when I was younger that it's not really a surprise. One of his friends, a boy, came over a little while ago, and my son told me that he kissed him. It was on the forehead apparently, but he didn't describe it in a romantic way, obviously. He just wanted to show that he loved him because you kiss people when you love them a lot. My husband is convinced that our son is gay. He's not upset about it, more neutral, but I think it's harmful to assume a 7-year-old's sexuality because he does things that we've arbitrarily decided are for girls. When he heard about the forehead kiss, he said, "Are you still saying he's not gay?" And I asked why it would be a big deal to begin with, and he said it's not, but he won't give up hopes for grandkids. Recently, my husband has been suggesting we should have another kid. I asked him why the sudden change, and he said he loves being a dad more than he ever thought he would. I believe him about that, but the timing in his comment about grandkids won't leave my mind. I originally wanted to adopt, and he said even if it's selfish, he wanted his only child to be biologically his. I'm putting all of this together, and to me, I'm worried he only wants another child to have biological grandkids. I feel like that is showing that he's going to love our son less than this hypothetical next child. Does it sound like that to you too, or am I reading too much into it? Am I wrong for walking out of my cousin's wedding? I, 45 female, was recently contacted out of the blue by my cousin, John, 47 male, daughter, Emily, 23, who wanted to meet more of his family after he's been no contact with all of us since his wedding about 25 years ago. He was apparently furious with her when he found out and forbade any further contact unless we all apologized for walking out of his wedding. John had been engaged to Rachel for about 2 years and she was a very lovely and sweet person. All of the family loved her and they really tried to make her feel like part of the family. They'd come to holidays and birthdays for all the family and we threw a party for her on her birthday. We didn't hear from them in a month or two leading up to the wedding, but we figured they were just busy with last minute planning and none of us were in the wedding party. On their wedding day, all of us, about 20 cousins, aunts, and uncles, turned up to the venue to see signs for John and Kristen's wedding. We thought we were at the wrong place initially until John came out and confirmed that it was the right wedding hall. John said that he'd called off the engagement with Rachel a month prior after reconnecting with an old flame, and they decided to use the date to get married instead. We were all confused and upset, and while John was trying to calm everyone down, I went and used the venue's phone to call Rachel. She said that 2 weeks before, she had caught John cheating with Kristen and ended things right then. She said that John had refused to cancel what they could for the wedding and get back what money they could. Instead, he used them towards this new wedding with Kristen. Most of the family and I then walked out, saying that we were not going to stay for this bait and switch wedding, especially after he had treated Rachel so horribly and him not even telling anyone that he was marrying someone else. Yeah, that's fucked. He said that it shouldn't matter who he is marrying and that as a family, we had to stay and support him. We didn't, so he hasn't spoken to any of us for 25 years. So, am I the asshole for walking out of the wedding and not apologizing even after 25 years? Hell no. Good for you.
I, 27 female, husband, 30 male, posted on here to cry about the open marriage he asked for. I'm pretty sure my husband has been posting on here about our marriage, and since he wants strangers all up in our business, let's do it.
Oh,
He talked about how he asked for an open marriage because I never wanted to have sex with him, but didn't mention that this was not even a year after we lost our baby, and my body had gone through the worst experience of my life. I had to deliver our lifeless baby and then almost died. I felt like a failure for losing our baby, and here he was telling me I was failing as a wife too, more than a couple of times a month. And he'd say, not now, I have someone coming, or no, I'm tired, I just had sex with XYZ. I'd already met someone, but I wanted to put our relationship first and didn't want to start seeing someone else. I kept trying, but it seemed like to him, I was just a babysitter, maid, co-parent, and roommate. I decided to let the other guy in because I wanted to hurt my husband and remind him that I exist. But honestly, being treated like I'm the most amazing person on earth feels good. He puts me first and treats me so well. Now that my husband is realizing that, he's throwing temper tantrums and trying to make me feel bad. He knew I was going to be gone this weekend. I told him that weeks ago, but apparently since he told me that he's closing the marriage on his side and wanting to reconnect with me, he'd expected me to do the same. Now he's saying I abandoned him and the kids when I didn't. I'm finally feeling like a human being again, and I'm not going to ghost the guy who's helped me get to this point just because my husband is paying attention to me again. Since we're asking strangers for opinions, I'm curious. What would you do in my situation if the person you loved treated you the way he treated me?
leave.
Run.
I'm 30, my boyfriend 31, have been dating for 6 months. We met through a mutual friend and things went from there. We do not live together. We do, however, spend enough time but more outside. A week ago, while we were out with friends, my boyfriend asked if I could make a copy of the key to my apartment. For a little bit of context, I own an apartment while he rents with his friends, and let him have it. I was puzzled and asked why. He said he might need to stop by alone or with some friends when I'm at work or somewhere. To be honest, I just did not feel like it was a good idea. I asked what business does he have in my apartment when I'm out, and he took offense to that. A few seconds of awkward silence later, then I told him that I don't feel comfortable having anyone at my apartment unless I'm there, and that he gets to have a copy of the key only if he lives there and that's it. He got quiet for the rest of the evening, but after we left, he sent a long wall of text basically criticizing what I had said to him and talking about how I don't trust him. I said that I just didn't think he should have a copy unless he's living with me, and he took it as in I was pushing him to move in. But as far as I know, he lives with a bunch of guys paying rent, so not the best living arrangement, and he constantly complains. We had an argument and he insisted that I have no trust in him, that I embarrassed him in front of his friends by declining to let him have a copy of the key. He then hung up and kept sulking. I tried calling him again, but one of his friends picked up and got involved, saying my boyfriend is rightfully upset with me for not treating him like my partner and showing him the respect that he deserves. He said me refusing to give him a copy of the key means 1, I don't trust him or his friends, and 2, I think he's a thief and can't be trusted with my belongings. It got overwhelming, and I started to think that I flew off the handle and was unfair to him by flat out refusing and then not explaining my point. Am I the asshole for not letting my boyfriend have a copy of the key to my apartment?